Well, hello there, people. How are you doing? Welcome to the Game Hump. It's your midweek ritual. We're here this week on the Game Huggers YouTube channel. We're doing the Game Hump Wednesday night. And this week we've got Nullity and myself as the Game Huggers. And we're going to sit here and chat about must-play video games that we just never really played. John, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
So far, so good. This has been one of the shittiest work weeks of my life. But I'm glad because there's only 2 more days to go. So
Right
that's a
on.
big deal. What are some games or pickups that you've gotten recently, sir?
I haven't been picking up a whole lot. Yeah, time's been pretty scarce. I haven't been on the show for a while, and I really appreciate you having me back after last time, the whole exposing myself at the end of the episode. I apologize again for that.
It's
I
all good. That's all good.
picked up a giant phone. I mean, it's like as big as my head, giant.
Now, does that mean your phone's really big or your head's really small?
I don't know.
Mine's not that big. Look at that. It's pretty small. That's funny. Wow. So is it an Android or is it an iPhone?
It's an Android.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been playing some mobile games, I guess. They have an autoplay feature on them, which is really nice. You can just tap the button and watch it play itself and then pay money to get more power-ups.
Isn't that funny? Oh, God. Yeah, the games are so stupid. Because I know there's a couple games. I think it was like Maple Story was an old game that I played maybe like 10 years ago on PC. Just a stupid side-scrolling, almost felt a little bit like a 16-bit MMORPG. And they have a new version out for Maple Story Pocket for phones, and you literally can just autoplay it. You push a button, and every once in a while, if your character's got low on health, you can heal them. But you can just sit and watch it autoplay. It's like, wow. That's so funny. Kids today, indeed. Kids and adults. I mean, it's just such a casual thing now. It's an experience that everyone does. Everyone's gamers. So I think at least they call themselves gamers. So you haven't got any big pickups or anything fun and exciting lately?
I downloaded on the Wii U a game called Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Oh, nice. Cool.
And it's pretty fun. I haven't been able to really sink a lot of time into it. What I have played has been pretty enjoyable. There's a lot there to micromanage. I never really felt like I had a life until I played that game. It's like, oh, I got too much stuff going on to learn all this.
Yeah, right. That's funny. So you just picked that up on a whim just for yourself, or was that for your kids? Or
it's actually hidden on like the 6th menu screen on the Wii U so that they can't find it and mess with it. That was for me, following a PC Engine FX forum discussion thread about the game.
Oh, cool.
A lot of people were saying it's really, really good, and I was really hoping it would be the game to bring me out of the 16-bit era.
I don't think so.
I mean, it seems fun, but yeah, give me Bonk or give me
Death.
Bonk 2.
Give me Bonk or give me Bonk's Revenge. Okay, so, and if you're interested in more Xenoblade Chronicles information, we have like 12 hours of it uploaded on our YouTube channel, which you can check out just by clicking on the Game Huggers link down there to check out anything else from our YouTube channel. That's a Xenoblade Chronicles X playthrough by our good friend Meng, who has been on this episode as well. And you met him, John. He was at the Midwest Gaming Classic.
That guy's a beast. I've never seen anyone sit down for like 36 hours straight until they master, tough as nail shmup like Image Fight 2.
Yeah.
It's just insanity.
Yeah, he wants to do it again too. He wants to stream it. So I think that would be an interesting stream. However, I'd be worried that he'd just be falling asleep while he was playing it. Because that's a long, long marathon. But okay, so no new pickups lately. I'm trying to think of what I've gotten recently. I ordered 2 Roomba batteries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's exciting. and I'm just thinking of packages that I've opened recently. And then I actually got just a generic 500 gig actually I've got the old one right here, 500 gig hard drive for a PS3.
Nice.
I wound up picking up a $20 PS3 maybe like 6 months ago from a pawn shop, and it just said would not recognize hard drive. It was written on it, and it was $20. Bare bones, no hookups, no nothing with it. But I'm like, $20 for a PS3. I mean, that's not a bad deal. And it was the 60 gig version, which I believe is backwards compatible with the PS2. So I took this out and tested out the hard drive, and sure enough, it's corrupt. I think it's just like something's fried in the hard drive. So I got a new hard drive, and I'm planning this weekend, if I have any free time, which I doubt I ever will, but I'm planning on installing it on the PS3 to see if I can get it working. I have most of the PS3 like half ripped apart because I didn't realize how simple it was to remove a PS3 hard drive. I was just pulling it apart from the top and just digging down, and I kept pulling all these things out, and I'm like, man, this is really weird. Where the hell is this hard drive? And then I looked up online. Apparently there's a door on the side that you just pop off and you just pull it out. But it's a good thing I opened it because it is filthy inside. There is like dust, dirt, just disgusting. So I'm going to clean the whole thing out and then put it all back together, hopefully correctly. I doubt it, but hopefully correctly, and then see if I can get it running.
A lot of those screws are just extras.
Yeah, if I get any extra screws, I'll use them in different places, different systems or whatever. It's all good. But yeah, I haven't ever really played much PS3 stuff. So that's an interesting segue into what our main topic is going to be today. And that is must-play hit games. Video games that are absolute wonderful games that everyone has played, but yet you've never really gotten into. And the PS3 is a good example for that because during that era, I didn't really ever buy or own a PS3, like ever. I mean, this PS3 that I got from this pawn shop is the first one that I've personally owned. We do have one in our house, but it's kind of like our family system. Kids play Little Big Planet, and that's about it. Oh, and there's a few other games, like the downloadable ones, like Flower is a pretty cool one, and a couple other games. But I don't think I've ever sat down to play anything on the PS3 yet, which is like a giant library of games that I know I'm completely missing out on. And now that the next generation is in full swing, you can kind of go to game shops and find PS3 games on budget. So that's kind of cool. So I've been kind of looking around for some games and picking up new things. Games that I just recently picked up for the PS3. I shouldn't say recently, but in the last 6 months-ish, are like Ni no Kuni and Disgaea 3 and 4, and there's a couple other ones I grabbed too. I can't think of. I think Left 4 Dead is one of them. And that was on a recommendation by my good friend Aaron, who's like, you have to play this game. And so I picked it up. It was like $6 or whatever. Just have not played it in, have not put it in yet to try it out. I'm sure it's a fun game. By some standards, people really like those kind of games. Hopefully I'll get into it. I don't know. The genres of current gen survival horror and first-person shooters and multiplayer online games just straight over my head because they look fun and I enjoy watching people play them. Like when my kids get a game going and I sit and watch them, that's really cool. But I don't know. It just isn't. It isn't the same kind of video gaming that I grew up with. It's just not the same amount of interest. I mean, even first-person shooters. I love Doom. I love Wolfenstein. I love Faceball 2000. Like I can play those, and I'm pretty competitive in those. But you give me a controller and put Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare 3 or whatever. I'm just like, what do I do? I don't know.
Yeah, I always tried to love all those games, but like you, it's not what I grew up with.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're good. Lots of people seem to like them. That many people can't be completely wrong. But
oh yes, they can.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of wrong, part of the reason I haven't been gaming so much, and I'm going to call you out publicly for this, Josh.
You're going to call me out publicly?
What's that?
You're going to call me out publicly?
I'm going to call you out publicly.
Son of a gun. Okay, I'm listening.
I've been using the Map My Run application.
Oh, awesome.
And I sent you a friend request, and you ignored it. And I've stopped running because of it. Because
Are you serious? Okay, hold on.
I didn't know if you saw it or whatever, but
Well, how do I even know where my? How do I know when I get a friend request? My home? Maybe. Okay, I'm on mapmyrun.com right now. Okay, let's see. Are you serious? Did you actually send me a request or?
yeah, I did.
Oh, what the hell?
I was surprised how many Joshua Jaegers there are. I mean, you wouldn't think there'd be that many.
Oh, shit. Okay, so friend request from John. Deny or accept? Okay, you are officially my friend on mapmyrun.com.
Now you can see my pathetic, like 10-minute, 5-hour walks.
No, that's awesome though, dude. Do you want to talk at all about your successes, or because you've dropped some weight, and that's even just from I met you for the first time ever in real life, IRL, like 13 months ago, and you look like a completely different person when I saw you last month. So that's really awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I wasn't really looking to go there necessarily, but I have taken off quite a bit.
That's awesome.
About 17% of my body mass.
Wow, that's crazy. That's really cool. I mean, that's a good feeling because not only the ladies think you're prettier because you got a fine curvy butt instead of a wall for a butt, but you also feel better when you go up a flight of stairs, or you feel better about chasing around kids, or in the long run when we're 50 and 60 and 70 years old, we'll feel better than if we're overweight. The reason why I kind of got crazy behind things like Map My Run and We Fit and stuff like that is because back in 2008, when We Fit first came out, a little bit of backstory, and we're way off topic now, but that's I don't care. No, it's all good. But back when I was in high school, I was about 220 pounds. And I never really weighed myself. I've never exercised my whole life. And it was like 11 years after high school, and we bought We Fit, and I expected to stand on that thing and it was going to tell me I was 220 pounds because I didn't, obviously I'd gained weight. I was a lot slower than I was, but I just thought that was old age or whatever. Never really paid attention to my weight at all. And I stepped on We Fit and told me I was 265. So I'd gained 45 pounds in like 10 years or 11 years. And so I got like focused on wanting to lose weight, and the gamification of being able to lose weight, like the more weight I lost, the better I got at the games. And so the better I got at the games, the more games I'd unlock, and the more, the higher level I would gain in this game. It became like a super addiction for me. And by summer of 2009, I was down to 195. And I dropped freaking 70 pounds. It was like crazy how much weight I had lost so fast. So I cut out like all treats. I cut out soda. I cut out, beer. I cut out a lot of stuff, and I wound up dropping so much weight so fast. And it was really funny because in the summer of 2009, people were saying I looked really sick, like I had cancer. And so I wound up like kind of evening out. I exercise, but I also eat. I eat pretty well. Like I eat probably way more than I should, and now I'm around like 215. So I feel pretty good. But
especially for your height, man, you're like what, 6'2", 6'3"?
6'3". Yep.
Tall mofo.
Tall mofo.
I'm glad you mentioned We Fit, by the way, because that does kind of fit into the topic. Everyone at some time has heard of We Fit. It was like a huge phenomenon when it came out. It's like, holy shit, a game that makes you not be fat. So a lot of people, and it's got a lot of interest. I have a We Fit, and I couldn't use it because I exceeded the weight limit on it. Yeah. Now I can use it. It didn't even occur to me until you mentioned that. So
that's freaking awesome.
That boy out.
Hell yeah, dude. That's great. Because that was what I was worried about. I remember reading on the box, and it said the weight was this much for getting on, and you couldn't, if you were exceeded that weight, you could not play. And I was like, when I stepped on, I saw my weight. I was like, oh my god, like I'm almost there. So Jesus, yeah. So it was cool. It was kind of an eye opener, and it was. I like it. Map My Run is just kind of a cool way to do it. Get an app on your phone. You take it with you on runs or whatever. You can, you can do a lot with it. Your bike rides, your runs, any kind of exercises, just put in your pocket and just do it along with it. It'll kind of keep track of what you did and how many steps you take. Speaking of another thing, have you looked into getting like a Fitbit?
This episode of Game Huggers brought to you by Fitbit, MyRoom.com, and Nintendo Fit, whatever the hell it's called. I've already forgotten.
This is the Nintendo, brought to you by Nintendo Wii and all other gamers. There's actually a gamer Get Fit Gamer Club too, a Facebook group that I'm a part of. People talking about doing exercises and stuff while they're gaming and stuff. It's really silly. Anyway, so the Fitbit, this can hook up to your Map My Run account, yada yada yada. It'll basically track all your steps and stuff like that. It'll keep track of your heartbeats per minute, how many miles you move, how many calories you intake, how many floors of steps you go up. You can connect it to your Map My Run thing. So like on your calendar, it'll automatically, like at midnight, it'll send all your results to that. So it's kind of cool. Whoa, what was going on there? Do you have one?
Oh, it must have been some kind of glitch. I wasn't concealing anything from the camera.
Oh, okay.
That is awesome though, because I wanted to get a good smartwatch that does all the pedometer stuff, heart rate, all that.
Yeah, so I like it. I think it's really cool. Anywho, what we're going to talk about today is games that were really big hits that everyone says is a quote-unquote must-play game, yet for some reason or another, John or myself never really got into it. And I just want to do a quick shout-out to our good friend 90s Cyber Thriller. He says, "Sup, guys?"
Sup.
And I say "sup, homie," because that's how we talk in the hood. Wow, I don't know what I'm saying. So, who wants to go first? Because I got a couple that are like no-brainers. Because if anybody knows me, I'm terrible at anything that's current gen. So there's a lot of really popular shit out there that I just don't care about. I mean, people should try to really... I wish somebody would just really try to convince me to play these games, because I watch trailers and every single Call of Duty looks the same to me. Every single Battlefield looks the same to me. You add aliens, you add science fiction, you add like lasers and stuff, cool, but the games don't change. Like, they're the same thing every single time. Star Wars Battlefronts, that game around Christmas time, the big demo came out for that, and I played it and it looked really pretty. But after about 10 minutes, I was like, I think I'm done. Like, I don't know what to do. This is neat and it's really fun and it looks really pretty, but I'd rather go back and get better at Nexer, or something like.
Right.
So, what's your first game on your list, John?
Oh man, I am the perfect and worst guest for the show because I totally quit gaming after the Turbo Duo kind of tanked. I have since gotten back into it. I'm going back through exploring the relatively old games. But one that really qualifies is Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Back in the day, everyone was all about it. Still today, you have a lot of people singing its praises about how it's the best Final Fantasy, the best role-playing game. Stories, emotional, it's just the shit. And I have not played it a single time. I've seen people play it. I wouldn't mind playing it. I just never have.
Final Fantasy VII is an interesting one because it's got a very it's a very various opinions, a very polarizing opinions by most people. Some people think it's way overrated, and some people think it's like the greatest RPG ever. And those are probably people that played through it when they were like, I don't know, mid-teenagers, and they think of it now with such fond memories, sort of in a similar way when we think of maybe some games that came out that weren't necessarily all that great in the 16-bit or 8-bit era. But my personal opinion of Final Fantasy VII is that it is actually a pretty good game, and you should definitely play through it. Oh, I don't know if you should play through it. You should definitely play it. It's you're investing some time. I mean, it was a 3 or 4 disc game, and each disc was about 5 to 10 hours. So I mean, if you really, really want to play it, man, it's 20, 30 hours. So I know they're remaking it this fall or this summer or this fall, so you could technically, with the new consoles, you could play through it in HD now, because there's going to be a remake version of it coming out that is maybe going to be good or maybe going to be terrible. I've heard lots of different opinions because they're changing a lot of the gameplay. They're changing it from a turn-based RPG to a hack and slash action adventure, which is a terrible decision in my opinion, but we'll see.
Why?
I don't know.
Why would they do that?
Because every Final Fantasy since 12 has been that type of game. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's because Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14 and soon to be 15 are those types of games. And they think that, and they sold better than the other ones. So they think that gamers are looking at more of a more of an action-paced RPG, similar to like Skyrim or you know, Fallout or something like that are considered RPGs but are really just first-person adventure games with RPG elements. Whereas like Final Fantasy, the last good one in my opinion is 10, which is a turn-based RPG, a classic style. It's got a great soundtrack, it's got great graphics, and a really good storyline with a really whiny main character, but still a good storyline. And it's, I don't know, it's really odd. All I wanted was a Final Fantasy 7 in HD. Like I dig that. That'd be kind of cool to see the same game, you know, and it was widescreen with HD graphics. You can kind of see things a little bit clearer. But Final Fantasy 7 on the PlayStation or Final Fantasy 7 on the PSP. There's a lot of different ways to play it. I believe you can even get an emulator now and play it on a computer or something like that. Or there actually is a PC version of it as well. That's very nice. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely better RPGs. There were better RPGs that came out during that same time. Personally, I think Panzer Dragoon Saga is a much better RPG. But that's only because it's incredibly unique and it was on the Saturn. So I kind of favor Saturn versus PlayStation anyway. But I don't know how to convince you to play it. I don't know if I can.
Other than saying, sold on it. It's just, you know, finding the time. Actually picked up a PS2. I guess it's been about a year ago. And my understanding is that will play Final Fantasy 7 still.
It will, yep. Yep, it's backwards compatible, yep.
Just have to block off the time and make it happen.
There you go. After you beat all the PC Engine RPGs.
Right. I mean, that's number one on the bucket list. You know, Final Fantasy 7, every other game in the world. That's number 2 and below. Nice.
You know what would be an easy RPG list to go through is the N64 RPGs, because there's none of them. So that'd be an easy one. Actually, there's a couple. There's Aiden Chronicles and Quest 64. And Shadowgate 64, if you consider that an RPG. That's it. Oh, maybe Ogre Battle 64. But that's more of a strategy RPG. I think that's it, though. Wow. It's pathetic. N64 is such a piece of shit. Anyway, so... sorry. My pick for a game that is a must-play, and it's going to be kind of shocking, is most of the Mega Man games on the NES and on the Super NES. So here's to preface this. I have played through Mega Man 2. I played through that when I was like 15 or 16. It was after Mega Man 4 had already come out. Because I remember Mega Man 4 coming out and getting kind of mixed reviews saying, well, it's the same shit all over again. And so my neighbor, or actually my nephew's neighbor, had a garage sale and was selling Mega Man 2. And my nephew bought it for like $10, and we wound up huddled up in his room and played it like for a weekend, and we beat it. And I really do like it. I've never played through it since then. I thought it was a really good game. The soundtrack's amazing. It's legendary. I mean, everyone's heard the Mega Man 2 soundtrack. It's really, really good. And I played quite a bit of Mega Man 3, mainly because I saw it. Oh, where did I see it? I think it was a grocery store that was selling their rental games, because back when we were kids, grocery stores used to have rental sections with movies and video games and laser discs. Maybe, I don't know. But so I remember seeing Mega Man 3 there, and I bought it, and it was like $5 or $10 or something like that, used with, you know, the writing all over it and the stickers all over it from the grocery store, like Pick and Save or something like that. And I didn't play through it all the way, but I remember really thinking it was pretty cool. I like the Mega Man games mainly because you can pick which level you want to start with and get good at that particular one, and then try another one, and then try another one, and just you kind of you can write down your password and you can come back to it later. But I never played through Mega Man 1. I hardly have ever even played it. Matter of fact, the most I've ever played Mega Man 1 was on the TurboGrafx 16, because our friends recently, was it Bonk Nuts and Jody and Sean, have made reproductions of those classic NES games on the TurboGrafx, and I played through more of Mega Man 1 on the Turbo than I ever have on the NES version. It's got advanced music and CD Red Book audio and stuff like that, so it's kind of cool to play it through that. But Mega Man 4, 5, and 6, and 7 on the Super Nintendo, and 8 on the PlayStation and the Saturn, I barely have ever even touched. Like, I remember, I honestly don't know if I've ever played 4 or 6 of Mega Man's, and I don't think I've ever played 7. And 8, I remember trying and thinking it was horrible. So I need someone to like convince me or show me what's so great about these games, because 5 is one that I think I will give a shot to. And you know what? Honestly, I'll probably eventually someday maybe play all of them. I'm like probably maybe, but probably not. I would love to play through all of them because they seem like they're really fun games, but they're just kind of mods or hacks of the first and second games. Like every one of them adds a slight little thing and makes a couple different bosses that are slightly different but not really, and the levels are definitely unique from each other. But it feels like it's just I don't know, like when they did Mario, when you see people online doing hacks of like Super Mario 1, and it's like, ooh, this is Super Mario 1 with different levels and it's much harder. Or like people that make levels on Mario Maker, like they should make a Mega Man Maker because Mega Man's 1 through 6 are like the same game over and over again with different levels and stuff. And I guess it's cool if you love Mega Man, then you know what you love. But I don't know if I love Mega Man.
Yeah.
And Mega Man games too, for me growing up, were like considered like a term nowadays, which I absolutely hate, is AAA titles. Are you familiar with that?
Oh yeah,
That's what they consider.
Like,
yeah, they consider like the $200 million productions of like Madden or Call of Duty or whatever the bigger games are, Skyrim or something like that. And when I was a kid, all the top tier games like Mega Man's and Castlevanias and Mario's and stuff like that were always more expensive. They never hit the clearance bin because they were always selling out. Something like Contra or whatever, you'd never see in a clearance bin. So when I was a kid, my parents, we didn't have a lot of money. And whenever I would get gifts, it was usually out of the clearance bin. And there were never any Mega Man games in the clearance bin, other than when I got one, many years later at a grocery store for sale for Mega Man 3. But I always got games that were kind of like the generic knockoff versions of Mega Man or Double Dragon. Like Double Dragon's generic knockoff to me was River City Ransom. So I got River City Ransom, which is actually a superior game in my opinion. And then for Mega Man, I found Zexyz, which I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's spelled XEXYZ. And it's actually a Hudson Soft space shooting type game. And I looked at the cover, and it was like a dude in like a robot suit or whatever. And I looked at the back, and it kind of looked like Mega Man. So I was like, oh my god, this is going to be just like Mega Man, and it's $6.99. Like, let's get this, Mom. And then, oh, here's your birthday gift. I'm like, thanks, Mom. Whatever. And and I remember going home and playing it. And I played through it, and it's fun. Actually, I just recently played through it like a year ago, and I updated my progress on my Instagram account. You can totally follow me on Joshua Turbox. Yeah. But I don't know. I have really fond memories of those games, and that's like other.
Josh, I'm not sure if it's you or me that locked up. So, hello world. It's me. It was Josh that locked up. You guys are stuck with me. I apologize. Josh asked me to sing a song. I'm not going to do that. You're welcome. I will go ahead and comment on what Josh was talking about because I'm not too good at interjecting. Mega Man games, They're also up there on my list. They hadn't occurred to me until they mentioned it. However, yeah, I played a little bit of Mega Man rental games growing up. I sucked at them royally. Oh, and look, we have Josh.
Hey, dude.
Are you joining us via smartphone?
I am. That's the craziest thing. I've never had this happen before. My computer literally just crashed in the middle of that, and I'm like, what do I do?
I know, I was just sitting there staring in silence. It's like, Josh, are you there? I'm getting scared. What do I do?
What do I do? That's like, God, did you ever watch Major League, the movie?
Major League?
Yeah,
Baseball? Yeah.
yeah. Where,
Charlie Sheen with his fastball, Joe Boo with his hats for the bats.
yeah, and then Bob Uecker, who is like a big Cleveland fan, and they're losing, they're getting their asses kicked, and so he like gets drunk while he's while he's doing commentary, and he falls asleep and passes out. And so his like commentator partner is like with him, and he never talks. And so they're like, "You'll have to take over. Go, go, go!" And he's watching the game, and he goes, "Fly ball, caught." I love that.
Yeah, that's me. I'm that guy.
Okay, so what were you talking about?
Oh, I was just kind of agreeing with you about the Mega Man games. They're very well renowned. However, they, along with so many other games that aren't TurboGrafx, are on my list of games that I have played a little bit. I've never really given a fair shake. Probably because either they're too damn hard or I'm just really terrible at video games. Um, I do remember enjoying playing them way back in like 1989 or whenever it was. They were new on the NES. I don't think I ever beat one though. I like games that play themselves. That's why I bought a big new smartphone. If they made a Mega Man that you just hit autoplay, I would be all over that.
All right, let's do this thing here. Okay. Whoa. Okay, let me leave this here. Okay.
There we go. Hi.
Welcome back.
Hey, thanks, man. It actually sounds kind of cool on the. Oh wow, I'm not the host? Am I? Oh yeah, there we go. It actually sounded kind of cool on my phone. Was the quality pretty good on that?
Not bad. I mean, the video quality wasn't quite the same.
Sure.
But the audio wasn't bad.
Nice, cool, man. Cool. Now I'm gonna check to make sure that the video is still working because if we lost I can't see who's all on or not. So I made a list of games and now my list is gone. This sucks. So okay, the games that I can think of next that were on my list would be something like I played a lot of. Well, I shouldn't say I played a lot of. I played through the very first Knights of the Old Republic game. I thought that was a really great game on the Xbox. It also came out on the PC. But when those games, I think it was BioWare did those games, and they were a pretty big deal. They moved on to a game series called Mass Effect, and a lot of my friends have shouted up and down. Shouted up and down that I should try the Mass Effect games. They're really, really great games. So I wound up picking up the first and second ones, but I have a really hard time wanting to jump into it. I don't know what it is. It's just I think it's too intimidating. It's too daunting. It feels like it'd be a game that would take me ages to get into, and it'd be a major investment. And I would rather just play something that's not quite so engrossing, I think is the word I'm maybe going for.
Yeah, I get it. It's a very long game.
Never happened before, so that's really weird.
It happens to everybody.
I guess so. It never happens to me, though, honest. I promise. I've never, ever had this happen to me. Hello, everyone. So we got so excited that our computers exploded, and one of us died. But don't worry, he's been resurrected. And he's been resurrected so well that a group of necromancers brought him back to life, and he's now an undead creature. But that's okay. He's still here, and he's with us. The necromancers did mention, though, that myself at _ Joshua Turbo. Follow me on Twitter. And Jonathan, Nullity, over there. We gotten along so well that we've almost started to like finish each other's sentences. We've become brothers. We're on the same wavelength. So when I complete him. So when I say something like, "Hello, I'm new here, and I'd like to play. Maybe now, maybe later, or even all day. I'll make you chuckle deep down in your bed, Ellie, because we go together like peanut butter and
potato chips."
Yes, score. See, just like that. Boom. But we're here to talk. Finish up our chatter. It's very funny. When we were just chatting, we talked for about 20 minutes off the air about a couple games. And we want to continue this talk now to talk about a couple games real quick here. And what were we going to talk about, John? I don't even remember anymore. We were going to talk. Let's talk a little bit about Pokemon. Now, Pokemon is a game that is very, very popular. Everyone's played it. I mean, kids, adults nowadays. I mean, that game came out in the late 90s. So, like, adults, in their 20s talk about, like, oh, if you played Pokemon or if you chose Salamander or Charmander, your life was awesome. And
it was like Squirtle. Just for the name Squirtle.
You're a big Squirtle fan?
Yeah.
I think I've watched the movies and I've watched the TV shows, but I never once played through a Pokemon game. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Is it something I'm missing out on? Is there something I should am I completely at a loss here by not playing through any Pokemon games, or should I start playing them?
You're an outcast of society if you don't play it, dude. You've got to get in the mainstream. There's so much Pokemon. The story is just captivating.
Okay, so after watching the TV shows and after watching a few of the movies, I can say that I'm probably not all that interested in the Pokemon universe. And I just don't think it's that interesting to me. I think that the idea that on Earth we have bugs and deer and moose and cows and giraffes and whatever, and then in the Pokemon universe there's like the equivalent of all those creatures with like creatures that look like deer or creatures that look like a Squirtle or a Charmander or a Executor, whatever the hell that is supposed to be like. But like all these things, and the goal of the game is to go out and capture these animals and make them pit them against other people that are capturing animals in like a cockfighting, like it's a cockfighting joint. It's just kind of, like, I don't know if I'll ever think that I have to play through one of these games. Like, it's an investment. These are role-playing games, but if a role-playing game has a crap story, or if it feels like it's just a collect them all type thing, I'm going to lose interest. And there was a couple games that are similar to the Pokemon franchise that I think are more interesting to me. One of those was Dragon Warrior Monsters that came out on the Game Boy Color. Now that game takes a familiar universe like the Dragon Warrior games, and all the monsters that you fought, the slimes, the other monsters, the bugbears, the creatures that you fought in dungeons, and it basically turns you into a person who is going to go out and help those monsters in a way that you want them to fight on your side. So you go out and you basically, similar to Pokemon, you go out and you capture slimes and then they become part of your party or whatever. And you can build up your own army of monsters and you go out and fight, other people or whatever. And it was like the same music, the same characters, the same monsters that we'd all grown up in. And if you played Dragon Warrior games, I mean, it was a very similar universe. It was an interesting spin-off and it was a really well done game.
Did they ever make cards to go along with that?
With Dragon Warrior Monsters?
Yeah.
No, but there is a Pokemon card game, which is still going, and I guess is actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, why not have Pokemon for people that don't like stupid shit? That'd probably rock.
Yeah, I've heard the card game is pretty good. I actually have played a game or two, but I never really fell in love with it. I don't know. it's the same thing. It's the Pokemon. It's the cartoony look, I guess. I don't know. There's just something about it. But there's a game on the Neo Geo Pocket Color that I absolutely fell in love with. That is sort of hypocritical of me to sit here and make fun of Pokemon because it's kind of the same concept, and that's SNK versus Capcom Card Fighters Clash. And that's a game where you basically go out as a kid in the game shops. You go from game shop to arcades to different, areas that are themed from the video games. Like you go to SNK or SNK Land or Neo Geo Land, Neo Geo Land, and you go to like the Resident Evil Mansion and you fight zombies and stuff like that. But you're basically playing cards against other players in game, and you're collecting cards from either SNK or from Capcom. And it's a really, really fun game. It's really cool how they put it together. And I find it very fun. I think the card game is very simple. There's action items, there's characters, and there's other support items that you can do. And there's also characters that can team up together. So you're able to take characters that are from similar games, like the two characters from like Marco, and I can't remember the girl's name from Metal Slug, but if you have both of them on the field at once, you can have them team up and do like a super attack and stuff like that. And it's really, really fun.
Like Cammy team up with what's that SNK like cat lady person?
Yeah. There's stuff like
that'd be awesome.
Ken and Rio or Chun-Li and Guile, stuff like that. So it's really fun, and the game actually plays really well, and it's got a lot of familiar music, and it's got a lot of familiar characters. And I think the most exciting thing about it is it's like the entire universe of SNK and Capcom, which are really, really beautiful, wonderful histories. You got Street Fighters, you've got Resident Evil, you've got Destiny of an Emperor. I mean, you can go back all Darkstalkers, like Final Fight, like all these games. And on the SNK side, you've got like Metal Slug and King of Fighters and Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting, and Samurai Showdown and Last Blade, and just all these games, like just endless amount of games to choose cards from. And it takes so much and puts it together. And I believe I still have my save on my SNK versus Capcom Card Fighters Clash. I've got like 38 hours into it, and I did play through the entire game. It's like an RPG-ish, but it's more of a strategy RPG a little bit. But
Neo Geo Color Pocket.
Yep, that's a Neo Geo Pocket game, and Neo Geo Pocket Colors, from what I know, even in 2016, are not the most expensive game consoles. I think or the handhelds. You can get it for like between $40 to $50, and Card Fighters Clash games on eBay are around $10, and it's really fun. Like, I mean, it's addicting. Very similar style, very similar like look as a Pokemon game from like the Game Boy Color era, but I think it's just the subject material is so much cooler that I fell in love with that, and it's really, really cool. But man, being in Neo Geo Land and like walking through and seeing all the candy cabs all set up on the straight line, and people are playing them, and you could stop and talk to people, play them a game of cards, go up to each machine and like click on it, and it's like, oh, this is Resident Evil Arcade Gunner or something, go to the next one. This is Street Fighter 5 EX7, like they're making fun of Street Fighter and stuff like. So it's really fun, but I don't know, just never really gotten a Pokemon. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have, and it seems really cool, but it's just not my thing. One last thing to talk about before we end the show tonight. What are your thoughts on like games that are like 2.5D? And what do I mean by that? It's sort of like merging together 3D games and 2D games. The series that I'm specifically talking about that I'm not the biggest fan of is new Super Mario Brothers U or Super Mario Brothers Wii or any of those games. Even the DS ones I don't think are all that great, mainly because I don't think the controls are really crisp, and they actually a big step back from like Mario World, honestly.
I'm inclined to agree. I like 2.5D for games like R-Type Final on the PS2. That game kicks all sorts of ass. However, the Mario games, I hear they have some wonky sound effects too. I don't play them too often. I've dabbled with them a bit. My kids love them. How do those sound effects go?
Oh man, Mario never shuts up. So like, in the old, Super Mario 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever, World or whatever you want to call it, was like, whoop, and that was it. Just whoop, and you hit a brick and whatever. But in this one, it's like, yeah, woo, wahoo, woo, yeah, woo, wah. And you just keep hearing it the whole game, and it makes me nuts. That's another problem I have with the new Zelda games is you're like listening to Link just sit here and swing his sword and like, it's like, who wants to listen to that? I just turn the
Bravo
volume down.
Man was ahead of its time.
Bravo Man, yes.
Everyone's following their lead. Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. I'm Dr. Bomb. I love Dr. Bomb. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the controls, it bothers me because it's basically Super Mario 64. Like the new Super Mario Brothers games have more in common with Mario 64. But instead of a big open playing field like the new was it Super 3D World, Super Mario 3D World, which is on the Wii U as well, which is actually a fantastic game because it plays like it should play, and that is a top view, 3D world that the camera follows you, and it's like you're moving around similar. I mean, actually, I would say it's similar to Mario 64 because it's a 3D game, but honestly, that's where the similarities end because the game is actually much more polished than those types of games. It has no camera issues at all. It like stays as more of a static one, kind of keeps its distance, which is really awesome, and it actually makes sense for multiplayer. But for Mario U or new Super Mario Brothers, which I fucking hate that name too. New Super Mario Brothers. Like the only time I ever saw that before New Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers came out was in New Adventure Island, and I even hated that name. Like I hated how they called it New Adventure Island. Like call it Turbo Adventure Island or something. It was our Adventure Island on the Turbo graphics. Like call it Turbo something or call it Adventure Island 4 or 5 or something. But New Adventure Island. Ugh. What happens when the game's like 15, 20 years old, which it is now? Now it's not new anymore, and it's just silly.
Just rather keep renaming the sequels newest,
most newest, the absolute newest, for real this time newest. But yeah, I don't know. It's so slippery. You have the jump off the wall aspect. I hate that too. I think it's lame. And I know you were mentioning earlier about like Mario Maker for the Wii U, which is a fantastic game. It's really fun. But when I am playing levels that my kids make, or if I'm playing levels online, I hate all the new ones, the new Super Mario Brothers, because of the 3D, the polygons that are on a 2D platform or whatever. I'd rather play the Mario 1, 3, and World levels than the new Super Mario Brothers worlds for sure.
Yeah, Mario Maker, that's an educational game. My kids love it. Once they were playing it, and I happened to be watching, and they're on this level going through it, and the bricks were laid out in a very curious pattern. It almost looked like letters. There was an F and a U. There's some other letters too. And yeah, they learned a lot from that level.
Wow, that's fantastic. That sucks. Kids are jerks. Other kids are jerks. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. It's interesting. Like new Super Mario Brothers U is a hit, and a lot of people like it. And there was a new Super Luigi Brothers, whatever U, and then there was the one on the Wii. They were really popular, but I think there's a game series out now that is also 2D. That's on the newer consoles, and I think completely wipes the floor with the Mario franchise, and that's Rayman. Rayman Legends and Rayman. Oh, I don't remember what the other one was. Rayman something. I think Legends might be the newest one. But man, that game is so much more fun. Like it's more polished. It's actually like sprites. It doesn't use polygons. I mean, if it does use polygons, it does it in a very clever way where it's very flat. Like the characters are extremely flat. And it just looks really awesome. And they did a really good job with it. The music's really good. There's no annoying jump animations or yelling sounds. There's just like whoop, whoop, and he like when he gets hit or if he dodges something, it was like you might hear that once in a while, but it's not overdone. And Ubisoft did a really great job with that game.
How unlikely is that a character who got his start on the Atari Jaguar is now actually still around and enjoyed?
Isn't that crazy? A lot of people think that's the best Jag game ever is Rayman. It's really hard. I remember that being a really hard game.
Yeah, I never played it. I had a Jaguar back in the day. I always rooted for the underdog.
Yep.
Jaguar kind of broke me at that.
Yeah, that was a dangerous system to get into. I knew a lot of my, well, I shouldn't say a lot. Two of my friends got into it, and they bought it from the launch and started buying games for it. And then a couple months later, they were like, "Yeah, these games aren't any good."
Yeah, I got a
felt
lot
so
of
bad.
stinkers. I mean, Alien vs. Predator, Tempest 2000. I think those were the only good games I had for it. I had Doom and Wolfenstein, but I don't really care for the 3D, first-person shooter stuff. Uh,
Sure.
Cybermorph was actually not too bad. I'm probably
Wow,
one of
really?
the few people you'll ever hear say that.
That's weird. Where did you learn how to fly? I hate that game. I think it's really bad. There was Battle Morph that was a little bit better. I thought that one
Yeah, I
was
never played that
a
one.
sequel or whatever.
I ended up getting the CD attachment, and I loved the virtual light machine on it. The visualizations for playing music. I think
Yeah.
that got more use than any of it, any of the actual games for the CD head-on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. One of my favorite Jag games is actually Flip Out. It's a really fun game.
Didn't play it.
I played that a few months ago. I did a video on my YouTube channel for that, which you can totally check out by searching Atari Jaguar in my video lists here. But
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do not check it out. Do not like it. Do not follow it. It's terrible. It's just more of this stuff. You don't want to hear any more of me doing this. But anyway, thank you, John Nullity, sir, for being a part of the show this week. I am sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone else. When I do upload this as an MP3 to our Podomatic website, it will be as one file. I will enter it together. I probably will have some sort of editing magic done to it, so it won't be quite as noticeably effed up as it is. But if you're interested in hearing that complete version of it with parts 1 and part 2 of today's Game Hump, you can check us out on podomatic.com/gamehuggers. Also, search for Game Huggers on TuneIn, as we are now uploading our RSS feed to TuneIn. You can check us out there. Also, check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for Game Huggers, and you will find pictures of Nullity naked. I mean, pictures of Game Hugger stuff. Anyway, thank you guys so much. It's been a lot of fun. @_Joshua Turbo. Follow me on Twitter, and our Facebook page is nearing 200 members right now. So that's a really big deal for a pretty rinky-dinky little group of community people there. But it's really cool, and we're growing, and that's fun. So until next time, fellas, take it easy. Goodbye.
Farewell.
Fare thee well.